unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Nya nya nya. Babue. Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to progressive could say big.
Cool. I just gotta finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
I would like it to not be the three of us in the octagon at some point. I have a feeling
What do you mean?
all three of us agree on the key issue. Like, that guy got murdered.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I just have a feeling we're all going to disagree on the reactions. Maybe three different viewpoints on the reactions to all this.
I'll say this. My buddy who I'm really close with, who's a cop, he hasn't even tried to fucking... From Jump Street, he was like, that's fucking ridiculous. There's no excuse for that. He was completely submissive. Once you got him on the ground, once you got him handcuffed, pick him up, put him in a cop car, end of story. You don't fucking sit there and keep kneeling on him. But some of his friends who I know, like, you know, that are acquaintances with me, but like had sent me friend requests on Facebook.
By the way, I'm recording, guys. So.
Yeah, those cops are like, you know, we don't know the whole story, and he was a criminal, and he had a criminal past, and I'm like,
oh yeah, he had fentanyl in his system.
Now?
Yeah, him in like 20% of the country.
We said it last week. So is passing a fake 20 and resisting arrest a crime punishable by death penalty? Both those things are true. This is not a death penalty offense.
Yeah, and if he committed a crime 10, 15 years ago, did time for it, what the fuck's that got to do with what's going on right now? What the fuck's that have to do with a cop kneeling on his neck for almost 9 minutes? That has nothing to do with that. And that cop was not fucking... I finally got to see a chopped up version of the video because I watched medical experts were watching the video, and they were like, you know, yeah, when he's talking about his stomach's hurting and this and that, that's his organs were shutting down. Like, he was getting no blood because he's kneeling on the carotid artery in his neck. And I'm like, ugh. For 9 fucking minutes. And the guy's just like, sir, could you please get up? I can't breathe. Sir, I'm starting to pass out, sir. And it's like, are you fucking serious? That is what is acceptable for that response from somebody who's handcuffed, lying on the ground, motionless? No, it's bullshit, and it's fucking flat out murder. And anyone who says different, you have an agenda. That's the only thing I can think. You just don't want to admit it.
Well, let's just start the show. Because
we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put it in the intro. This seems to be. I haven't heard. I don't know about you. I haven't heard many. This seems to be the whole country kind of seems to agree on this. I haven't seen many dissenting things going. It seems to be everyone generally agrees this guy got murdered. I haven't heard too many people trying to come at this from the other way.
No, it's not a lot of people, but
yeah, it seems a lot of people are coming together more on the bigger picture. I mean, yeah, obviously what happened to Mr. Floyd was a tragedy and a murder that completely senseless murder. But on the idea that this is not just about this one incident, that this is obviously a nationwide trend, a problem with our police.
Yeah, I mean, I look. First of all, I understand we're conditioned to think tribally. You look like me. You're part of my tribe. I got to fucking go out and defend it. Whatever. But this is not just an isolated incident. Yeah, it's worse in the black communities. There are neighborhoods that are predominantly black. But we've been doing this show for 6 years. I've seen enough videos of people of all fucking races, colors, stations in life, socioeconomic fucking position, getting fucked with, beat, and or killed by the cops. And what scares me in all this is that if you have just a nodding acquaintance with history, you know that real change and revolution, I can't think of I'm talking genuine change and a genuine revolution that brings that change. I don't know of one that comes without violence. Well, and I think we're getting close to that point.
I don't, because people like to bring up the American Revolution. That was back when we didn't have anything to lose. There was no country to lose. There was no way of life to lose.
That's a little black and white, Chris. I mean, violence doesn't mean full-on revolution. Rich is right that it's going to take a lot, and we've already seen that violence. We've seen that violence all week.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though,
it's going to continue to escalate if this problem with the police continues, and it's going to escalate to the point where the people in power say, okay, we have to do something.
Well, yeah, but
they can't sit idly by. They can't just go, oh, the insurance companies will pay us back for our businesses. We'll make ourselves whole. Hell, I even made out. I didn't have to pay any employees. I sent everybody home during the riots, and the insurance paid for everything. So, bigger picture, no big deal, right? This is the normal response to these types of events. They're scary in the moment, and then we just fucking move on. And I think it's got to the point now where people are realizing, no, if I just send a half-trained cop out there to do something that ends up costing somebody else's life, then that's going to end up in my city erupting in violence. And I need to do things to prevent that from happening.
Well, I'm waiting to hear ideas.
That's the type of, what's that?
Not from you.
Defunding and demilitarizing the police is what a lot of people are talking about. What they're talking about primarily in New York and LA right now.
I dip my tool into a comment section of someone going, okay, we've been listening. You told us to listen. We're listening. What do we do? Who has solutions? And, of course, it was, kill all cops, fucking all this shit, and then it was like, here come the Blue Lives Matter bunch. And
Aaron, I'd like
there was a handful of people that I was actually going back and forth with that we had a discussion, and it's like, get rid of victimless crime laws, get rid of broken window theory, stop and frisk, get rid of that. Oh, and also, how about this? Get these fucking cops out of their goddamn cars and have them walk a beat in a neighborhood and get to know the people they're policing.
Those are all great ideas.
Hey, by the way, Aaron, I'd like to thank you for being the first person in a week who's actually given me an answer when I've asked that question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. That's what I'm saying, is that there are answers. We're too afraid to do them because, most of America really liked the idea that the police was ramping up protection because the terrorists could possibly come here and attack us here, right? So who's going to attack us in the event of a domestic terrorist attack? Or who's going to attack us? That was Freudian, wasn't it? The cops. The cops will attack us. So this idea of, okay, so maybe the police need to have these heavier, armaments, these tanks and whatnot, automatic weapons. Most of America was really okay with that because okay with it in either the fact that they were comforted by the idea or that they just thought, well, this will all blow over. It's I can still trust the cops to use this stuff responsibly. And I'm not saying that these armaments and these tanks and whatnot are that is part of the problem that we're facing. It's part of the image. It's part of the culture It's part of now how the police are perceived as a domestic military force and not our friends who are supposed to protect us from danger.
Well, I'll tell you now, if I'm a cop, yeah, what? There's a crime? Yeah, I'll be right there.
If I'm a cop, I'm quitting.
And then never move. No, because you still have bills to pay.
I wish I could remember the exact line from the Public Enemy song, but I agree with Chuck D. Like, you had your chance to put down your, to hand in your resignation.
Well, I mean, that's super easy to say to me. Yeah, I'll just make a career switch real quick.
Look, I get it. A career search is a big thing, but people do it. And when it comes down to like having to live the rest of your life with this shit, I'm not saying that this is all cops everywhere, but I get the sentiment behind ACAB, right? All cops are bastards, all cops are bad, however you want to put it, is still true. Because what it's talking about is the culture. Okay. The culture of policing in America is broken.
Can we be real careful with this broad brush language? Because if we applied it to other groups other than cops, we would not be allowed to say it.
The whole culture of policing in America is bad, and therefore all cops are bad. Were all Nazis bad people? No. Some of them were doing what they thought was in their best interest or protecting their families. They were still all evil and bad because they were participating in a culture of hate and oppression.
Here's where my issue comes in, okay? Because we've all said this at some point since we've been doing this show. It's not all cops. Okay, well,
it's not all cops, but it is all cops, yes.
Someone broke it down for me this way, and it really
put it. You can't say that, because if you replace the word cops with black people, you can't do that.
Okay, but hold on a sec, Chris, because the same thing that's happening right now with the protesters who aren't rioting and looting, and they're going, wait a minute, just a few bad apples don't make us all bad. There's got to be cops standing there going, they don't teach irony in school anymore.
Well, Chris, I think black people is a bad example because I don't think that there's anything wrong with the culture of black people. Now, if I was to talk about Islamists or fundamental extremists in the Middle East... I'm not saying you personally,
I'm just saying in general.
No, this is what I'm saying, though. Me personally, this is what I'm saying. So if you compare that to what happens to the oppression that happens in the Middle East because of their culture and their religion, I can say Islam is bad. Not all people who identify as Islamic are bad. I get that. I get that there are good people in the Middle East. But there's something fundamentally wrong with the religion and culture around Islam, just as there is something fundamentally wrong with the culture of policing in America.
And what I was going to say that got it through to me, that someone explained to me, they said, okay, it's a bit reductionist, bear with me. But I get where they're going with this, and it's true to an extent, because I've talked to friends that I was friends with before they were cops. So they're not seeing me as I'm a cop who just met this guy and I'm going to answer his questions that way. It's two friends talking. And it's the truth. And it's, you got basically three types of cops. You got the cops who are criminals with badges and are just going to get away with whatever they can until they're either fired, killed, or retire. You got the cops that stand around who are like, I don't want to snitch on them. I can't be a rat. And then you got the cops that do speak up, and they get fired. They're killed. They lose their pension. Yeah, exactly. Left to hang in a deadly situation. No backup. I mean, so that is the culture of policing at the moment.
Yeah.
That's on them. Okay? And I can kind of draw a parallel between, well, I don't want to be a rat, I don't want to snitch, and some communities who have the stop snitching shit going on. But at the same time, these are the people that are hired to fucking to fuck protect. Someone brought up a good one. They're like, when the fuck have cops protected you in your lifetime? The least they can understand is that they're here to fucking serve us. It's not the other way around. We're not here to make their lives easy and their jobs easy.
No, the protection that they offer is their presence and the fact that if somebody commits a crime against you, there's a chance they might be in the area and do something about it. And so people, they keep crime down just by being around. But protect? No, I mean, clearly we've shown. I mean, it's kind of insane that the response to protests and riots over another cop killing another citizen was, we'll show you what police brutality looks like. You know, we got many more videos of cops with their knees on people's necks. I
mean, why are we surprised? But when you clamp people like that, they're just clamped down harder. I mean, when that's your natural.
So people like what? People like police?
Yeah,
authoritarian.
So, yeah, that's a rather broad assholes. Brush, Chris.
Well, hey, we've already said we're going to use them, so I got mine out too.
All right, so all police are the same. We're agreeing on that. And they're all going to react violently when you try and control their behavior.
What Rich is saying is
that's appropriate.
Authoritarians, when they're just going to, I mean, just our culture in general. We double down.
Yes, and that's the problem. They're authoritarians. They think that they are the law.
Well, the thing is,
fucking Judge Dredd running around on the streets.
We're coming out of this with two types of cops. Cops who don't give a shit and Judge Dredd.
Wiping our asses with clamshells.
We're coming out of this with two types of cops, though. We're coming out with Judge Dredd or cops who don't give a shit. I'm here just to get paid.
Well, and see, that's the problem right there. That's just like when I hear the argument of, man, they're just trying to get home to their families. Then why the fuck did they pick this job?
Yeah.
Why? I'm sorry. Wait a minute. No one.
It doesn't pay that well.
No one has any fucking sympathy for me and my shit Mick job because, well, you picked it. You don't like it. Just get a new job. Well, if you're too scared to do your job as a police officer, get a new fucking career.
Well, Aaron, you hit on it. It pays better than normal. Not that great, but it's also not that hard to be one. You don't need a college degree to be one.
Exactly. For all the downtime they seem to have, there's not a lot of training going on. None of these cops that were put out on the streets to control the protests and some of the subsequent riots actually had any riot training. They're out there smacking people over the head with their fucking shields.
If we've perhaps raised the standard of who we let be cops, maybe we will have our standard of cop raised. Have we thought of that?
Well, I would be for pay raises for cops if you showed me that it was going towards extensive fucking training.
Maybe starting pay shouldn't be $30,000 and no college degree required.
And extreme oversight. Well, I mean, look, you are the person that's put in charge of enforcing the law. You have to be beyond reproach.
Well, you want to talk about it?
If we want the nation's law people to be, to get into the FBI or the CIA, like they fine-tooth comb through your life and make sure that they're only getting the best of the best people that aren't going to crack under pressure, that aren't going to make those bad decisions when they're caught with, a possible dangerous situation. And these are just the people that we send overseas to like spy on people, or we have spy on people domestically and rarely get into these types of altercations.
But you also said the magic
and the
word
people
too.
who are daily are face to face with the public.
But you said oversight.
And don't get near amount of the same training or oversight.
You said oversight. How about the system that takes care of them? How about the courts that just... Rich and I were talking last week. Like it seems like there's some parallels to the Catholic Church in our law enforcement system. When there's problems with people, they just shift them around.
Well, when the shit splashes, everybody gets dirty. And so the police chief, the mayor, nobody wants to clamp down on a policeman because that shows that they failed in some way. And they might actually have to apologize for their sloppy decisions.
But again, the court system that takes care, it's one hand washes the other.
Look, hold on. Because I asked my buddy. I said, what? Obviously, they psych profile you, they background check you when you apply to first become a cop. He's like, oh yeah, it's almost as extensive as joining the military. I'm like, okay. Now, what do they do to follow that up once you're in the job? And he's like, not a whole lot. I'm like, oh, good. So they make sure that you can join and you're mentally sound. But once you're on the job and you start getting fucking jaded and you start seeing everything as a fucking hammer or a nail because you're walking around thinking you're a hammer, they never fucking follow up with these guys. And he's like, not unless there's a lot of complaints or he does something very drastic
Policemen should be, they should be skilled and as well compensated as doctors, and they should be updated on current practices constantly and retrained like doctors.
Well, Rich, too, isn't that how it kind of goes with a gun? Once they sell you the gun, that's it? They don't really check up on you?
Well, that would be an infringement on your rights, wouldn't it?
Well, you got red flag laws now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got people who've been like, fuck your rights. So, yeah, I mean, technically, not really, not anymore. I mean, I had an incident in my neighborhood, and the cops came and they took every weapon out that fucking house. And it was like, really? Okay. And it was a red flag raid, essentially. And I'm like, okay, so just like that, no warrant, no probable cause. Hey, we got an anonymous tip. We're coming taking your weapons.
I thought the red flag was basically gave you access to the warrant. It gave the judge legal cover to pull a search warrant on somebody who hasn't yet committed a crime. A red flag law that would be a search warrant, just a search warrant. Yeah.
What good is that? They came in and took them and basically said, come and get them in like 72 hours, whatever the fuck. I don't know what. Well, there was a period of time. It was like a cool down period. And it's like, Jesus Christ, you just got, you're a goddamn adult and you got put in time out. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Someone anonymously drops a tip to the cops. The cops put this in motion. They come and they go, you might be a problem. You might not. We don't know.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you a 72-hour cooling off period where they don't even have that much oversight with themselves.
Dude, that's laziness. That's just a lack of proper oversight for the system. They don't have a way to consistently, make sure that people are using their weapons properly or whatever, or they still are mentally sound. So they just have a snitch system. And it's a little too Minority Report for my likes.
Well, the other part, too, is where we're on the subject of oversight, could they be held to the same standards as us, please? Case in point, the other three guys just got charged. If that was the three of us and Earl at a bar, we would all be in jail.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, but I have to say this. I get the sentiment. I understand that he was charged with third-degree murder, first of all, which only carries 25 years as a maximum sentence, and people wanted him charged with murder 1 because that's life, no parole. If they
met him in the middle?
If they can't convict on murder 1, yeah, they did. But if they can't, I'm trying to explain to people who are like, it needs to be murder 1, and I'm going, if they can't convict on that, and that's the only thing they charge him with, he walks.
Yeah, right. They don't get to, okay, let's go for 2.
Wasn't murder 1 you planned it
That's not how our system works.
Yes, murder 1 would mean that he woke up that morning, decided to kill that man in particular, and went about doing so.
Yeah.
It's thought out intent.
And there's zero proof for that, and he would walk on a murder 1 charge. No, when is it? I mean, seriously, has any cop ever been successfully charged with murder 1 that was doing their duty? I don't think it's ever happened.
I'm trying to remember what they charged the Malice Green cops with. But I don't think that was murder 1 either.
Well, yeah, because for that to be murder 1, we're finding Malice Green, we're hunting them down, we're pulling them over, we're beating them.
Exactly.
And some people were trying to draw some lines, like I guess they had both worked as security for the same bar, but not with any type of overlap. And there's been zero reports of him, actually knowing Mr. Floyd.
There's so much bullshit being passed around as factual information when it comes to George Floyd. Supposedly he did a porno. Supposedly he did 5 years because he pulled a gun on a pregnant woman and stuck it to her stomach. He supposedly committed armed robbery. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa. If he's this bad of a guy, wouldn't we? I mean, seriously, right. would we have heard this before? And by the way, what does doing a porno have to do with anything good for you, dude?
Right. Are you? What is the argument here, really? Though, that the cop had all that in his head while he was kneeling on his neck?
Which,
that's what he was thinking about. Like, maybe I should let this guy up. But this is the guy who stuck a gun to a woman's stomach and did a porno.
Yeah. You know,
don't you realize it doesn't matter how good or bad that person was. It doesn't matter anything that they did up until that point there. If all the cop thought that he did was pass off a bad 20, and that's the punishment that he decided to mete out, then that's like but for the grace go I. I mean, grace of God go I. Luckily, I'm not black, I guess, because that could be me.
Aaron, I was telling Chris last week, man, when I worked in Southfield, at least once a month we would get past a bad 10, 20. I even think one time some dude tried to pass off a 50, and sometimes they slip through the fucking cracks. And I had a manager on duty who was like, "Oh, is that a fake 20?" And I'm like, well, money's usually green. This is like mint. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. It's greenish. I held up to another 20, and he goes, "That's it." And he gets on the phone. He calls the cops, Southfield Police Department. Yeah, I had a customer in here pass me a bad 20, and they literally were like, "And what do you want us to do about it?"
Right.
Why are there 4 fucking cops for a bad 20?
Yeah, I'm an old restaurant manager. It happened all the time. Oh, looks like we got a fake one. I'll take it to the bank tomorrow. They'll call the FBI.
We'll send somebody right over to dust it for prints.
Yeah, I've never been like, let it.
We got teams working in shifts.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold out any hope for the creeps.
Yeah, why are 4 cops showing up for a bad 20?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot to this shit. Well, first of all, I forgot about this. I won't say we. I don't know. You guys might remember. Remember Philip Castile? It's the exact same police department.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was his name Philando. I thought it was Philip. But anyways.
Yes.
The guy who like literally had his hands up and I think he was Asian, the cop that shot him, and same police department. Apparently they have like shield laws to protect cops from any type of citizen coming after them. Like, I don't know if that means they're supposed to protect them from lawsuits or being sued for negligent homicide or whatever, I don't know. But I'm like, wait, so that shit happened, 2 years ago? And we heard all this bullshit about we're going to, with a fine-tooth comb, go through Minneapolis Police Department. We're going to change things systematically. We're going to start at the top and work our way to the bottom. And we're not. And 2 years later, we're sitting here. This situation happens. What has been done? That's why I'm like, I'm starting to get worried because people are getting pissed. And I've seen plenty of videos. ML Elric, who, if you're from Detroit, you know him. One of them, of cops just point blank within 10 feet shooting rubber bullets at journalists and arresting them.
But there's a journalist who lost an eye. Many people who have lost eyes to rubber bullets. There's a 18-year-old kid with a fractured skull. Videos of, you see, excuse me, there was a lot of videos that I saw of like people just driving their cars trying to get home. And the cops are fucking with them. They fired tear gas. They fired rubber bullets at a car. And the guy got out of the car and yelled at him and said, "My fucking pregnant wife is in this vehicle. Why the fuck are you shooting at me? I'm not doing anything. I'm not out here protesting. I'm trying to go home." And they shot a tear gas canister at him.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Why'd you get out of the car? I get it, but I mean, like, he's got shot at road. You're going to sell that guy's hash? Hey, what are you doing?
It's Tank Man. It's like he just lost his shit. The Tiananmen Square, the guy with the groceries in his hand, staring down the tank. You know why? Because he couldn't fucking take it anymore. He couldn't stand the fact that he was being policed like this in his own fucking country. That's why people get out there and yell at the fucking police.
I mean, There's a whole. I've been, man. This statement has gotten a lot of mileage in the last 2 weeks.
To be clear, I'm sorry, Rich, real quick. I don't want to compare any. Tiananmen Square was a much worse situation, so I'm not saying that we're there. I'm just trying to draw a comparison.
I understand a lot of the frustration. I mean, I've had these conversations with friends of mine. And they're like, man, but tearing up your own neighborhood. I'm like, dude, look, I understand, but when you get frustration,
you ever your own shit because you're mad.
Frustration is a lot more dangerous than anger, because at least anger, you have someone to direct it at. Frustration is nobody is listening. Nothing is changing. Shit seems to be getting worse. And by the way, by all police statistics in this country, crime has went down. So why are they even more jackbooted now than they were 30 years ago during the crap epidemic?
Police abuse has gone up while crime goes down. Makes no sense.
You want the real answer to that, Rich? Budgets. Money they get every year that if they don't spend, they won't get it the next year.
Exactly.
So they buy shit.
But that's how you have cities in Michigan with tanks that don't even have 20,000
part
people.
of that is that you not only have to spend it, but you have to show some results for it.
Yep.
So now you have to up arrests. Now you have to look for people to ticket and make petty arrests on just to meet your quota so that you can get new machine guns next year.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If I learned one thing from this great game of baseball, it's that she'll humble you. You think you've got it figured out, you check the standings, and you're in last place again. I'm Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM, and I can put my team in position to win every single time, but I can't play the games, people. At least Progressive's Name Your Price tool has options based on my budget. It never lets me down, unlike my pitching staff. Amateurs!
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're gonna sold.
Pop stars with auto-tune. And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
It's just, it is mind blowing. And I mean, like I said, I don't condone it. I understand it. I mean, I don't condone a lot of things, but I understand what would drive someone to do it. But at the same time, I think this needs to be addressed. And I don't understand. This seems like a story that's made for the media. DPD was like, most of the people we arrested after it turned violent weren't even from fucking Detroit. They're from the fucking suburbs. People are coming from the suburbs after dark, after the fucking protests have, the curfews in effect, leave, and they're coming down there and they're fucking up this city. That's not even, you ain't from Detroit. That ain't your city. What are you doing?
I saw a lot of that, Rich. I saw there's a video of some white kid that was taking a skateboard and banging out all the windows on some retail establishment.
Yep.
while his friends were cheering him on, and all of a sudden this big brother comes running up and says, "Hey!" grabs his board. He's like, "You get the fuck out of here. Go back to the fucking suburbs. What the fuck are you doing? This ain't your fight even."
I'm not going to lie. I did first of all, there's no way to talk about it without, I'm going to come off like a conspiracy theorist, whatever.
Yeah.
There's some agitators stirring the fucking pot in this situation. And I don't know who the fuck, I don't know if they're cops. I don't know if they're right-wingers posing as Antifa posing as right-wingers, or they're just shit disturbers who are like, I'm going to stir the pot and leave and not have to lick the spoon.
I saw a Reuters story of some four people. The word boogaloo was in the story. Is a group of people in I think it was Nevada that got arrested for intentionally. They were just going around and just agitating.
Well, there's been stories that I've seen of basically any crazy group you can think of has been claimed as being an agitator in some instance, and I believe them all.
Yeah, it's been extremists on both sides, really.
Yeah. It's not even sides. It's just from all angles. It's not both sides.
All parts of the spectrum.
Because the opposite of white supremacy isn't really Antifa, because unless you're just talking about concepts, Antifa is an organization. It's just people who identify with being anti-fascist. That's it. So, I mean, did some people... that's the thing. I don't know how you can claim that Antifa is doing anything, first of all. They're not organized. They're not doing anything as a group. I'm sure there are people who describe themselves as Antifa who are doing some agitating out there.
I can show you some Facebook posts from a couple of my cousins. And I was like, looks an awful lot like you're trying to organize something there, buddy. But I won't put you on blast. I'm talking about instructions for how to pick up tear gas canisters and throw them back and all. Yeah, like.
Yeah, but that's like saying because I bought the Anarchist Cookbook, I belong to an organization.
You take that motherfucker out of a library, you're on a list.
Yeah, you belong to an organization called Prison.
Believe me, they monitor who. If you're dumb enough to go to a library and use a library card to check out that book, you kind of deserve what you get.
There was one particular post I almost shared with you guys, but I decided against it. He was pretty much listing instructions for how to go out there and be an agitator. I was like,
Well, no, that's to be brutally honest, that's been around for a while. I started really seeing it as we were getting closer to the 2016 election. I've had friends share that shit, like, what to do if you get hit with mace or pepper spray. How to fashion.
That's protecting yourself, though. That's
how to fashion different. No. Okay. I'm not. What I'm saying is, there's various degrees of it. There's that, and then there's this is how you fashion a pipe bomb. And I'm like, bro, you just put that on Facebook. You understand that, right? Like, you can see that. Right. Like, that's the other thing. This dumb bitch on the other side of the state, I don't know if it was Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids, who tried to...
G-Rap. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
How are you going to...
20 years old?
22, going to hop on Facebook with a public account and start saying, let's go fucking plan a riot. Yeah, bitch, and you wonder why you got arrested? Are you crazy? Even if you were joking, read the room. They're not playing with that shit right now, okay?
Yeah.
Not at all. And believe me, all social media is being monitored by police in these cities. Believe that.
It's the same reason about 2002, people stopped making bomb jokes at airports.
Uh-huh. Yeah. For some reason. But no, I without a doubt, the vast majority of people are there for peaceful protest. You do have the shit disturbers. You're always going to have that, though. That's just the nature of the beast. The fact that most of this shit happens after the law-abiding protesters have left and curfews have gone into effect should tell you the mindset of the people that are doing this. These are people that don't give a fuck about breaking the law. These aren't people that care about protesters. They just are opportunists.
I heard the first. Guys, I'm excited. I heard the first phrase where I heard the word appropriation, and I actually agreed with it. Say, there's a lot of black anger appropriation going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, 20-year-old white girl. Tell me, why are you so angry?
But that's exactly it, Rich. It's opportunists, right? And my beef is, like, don't blame all of this on these agitators, because they were going to come out of the woodwork no matter what caused any sort of violence or demonstration.
And I will say, and it seems the pivot has happened finally, and on cable news. Stop showing them. Stop just showing that. It seems yesterday is when they finally started. They stopped showing shit on fire on the news networks. Yesterday seemed to be the day where they pivoted into peaceful protests. But it seems for a week,
that's a big part of the image problem with these demonstrations, because the violence is, if it bleeds, it leads. So that's going to be your 24-hour coverage is of anywhere where anything is on fire, and not the peaceful protesters that all across the country that far outnumber it.
Yeah, I was explaining to my sister-in-law. She's like, hey, there was a peaceful protest in Newark last night. How come that's not on the news? Because no one's going to watch that or click on that.
Because it was peaceful. That's exactly. Yeah.
Nothing was on fire. You can't show somebody beating somebody.
It's the same reason they showed people rioting and looting in Detroit, yelling Flint Town while doing it, but they didn't tell the story of the Flint police chief who took off his body armor and told the people, we're not de-escalated the situation before it could even get started, and said, we're not here to stop you from fucking peacefully protesting. In fact, we will join you in your protest. We are here to protect you and make sure you can you can carry out your First Amendment rights. Go ahead. That's what. But
don't put that on the news.
The only thing you hear about Flint is someone yelled from
quite a few
Flint.
Stories about it.
See, I've seen people share stories on social media, but I haven't seen the legacy media people pushing that up to the front of the to the front of the newscast.
Yeah, it didn't hit big nationally. You're right, and that's part. I mean, so how can you? I think you can be forgiven in thinking that the only way anyone's going to listen to you is if you smash out a couple windows and set something on fire. Because the news isn't going to even report on it. It's not even an event. A peaceful protest might as well have not happened.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of news outlets out there now that have completely lost any respect I had for them. New York Post being one of them. I saw the fucking photo.
Those clowns.
I mean, they first of all, the photo was of 4 men all armed guarding their business. 2 were white, 2 were black. That was the picture. New York Post cropped the black guys out, went to their Facebook page and said, 2 armed rednecks stand in defiance of protesters in New York.
What the fuck?
And I've got the screenshots of both the picture and the edited picture with the New York Post post. And I'm like, fuck you. Seriously?
Like, if you're going to jail that YouTuber for going out and being an instigator, you should jail whoever wrote and approved that story as well. That is every bit as instigating.
That is stirring the fucking pot and hoping and not stirring the pot as in, I'm going to call someone a faggot online and hope they get mad. No. That could cost lives. And yeah, just as much as I'm sitting here saying first of all, it's a federal crime for these police stations to be attacking and arresting journalists who are reporting. But at the same time, journalists, you got to start holding other people. Just like you want the cops to hold people responsible, you got to start calling out bullshit journalism like that.
Absolutely. And it is absolutely dangerous, because before that person could even type up a retraction if they wanted to, those photos have been shared online. Somebody's doxed them, and they found out where they lived already.
Well, like what was it last Saturday? The CNN thing, like that was real hot for like half of that day, and then once the day rolled on, and realized what's
the CNN thing?
They basically the cops trying to clear an intersection, and they were told 9,000 times, and then on 9,001, the cops just arrested everybody in the intersection, and a CNN reporter and his crew were part of them.
Yeah.
And then they tried to act for a whole day. They tried to act like they were oppressed, and they were arrested just for. And it's more the story came out. It was like, no, they were trying to clear the intersection. They told you 100 times, and then they finally just moved you. You know, because the thing that was going around was the guy finally going, okay, we'll move. All right, we'll move. You know, and them getting arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So I know the story that you're talking about. That was kind of the first instance of, you know, there was a story about the police cracking down on journalists.
Yeah.
But, you know, even if that story ends up being not what it was presented as, which is really not that shocking for CNN, you know, I've seen the video of, I've seen multiple videos of cops taking their shields, taking their batons, smashing cameras, smashing journalists, shooting at journalists, tear gassing journalists.
And I'll go a step further. I'll go a step further.
Like, shame on CNN, but that doesn't make it not true what's going on out there.
I'll go a step further because I know people say, oh, well, videos can be doctored. You have deep fakes and this and this.
Please.
I watched streaming video of cops beating the shit out of journalists. And I'm talking journalists. First of all, Chris, we went to Specs. We know what a shoulder camera looks like for a news crew. Mm-hmm. News crew's got the little mic with the flag on it. So they can't be like, we didn't know that they were a journalist. And usually if there's a news crew, it's probably a news truck somewhere around, you'd think, right? I'm not buying the excuse of we didn't know that they were journalists. What the fuck do you think they're doing out there with a shoulder camera pointed at somebody with a microphone talking into it? Do you think they're filming a how to get better at Magic the Gathering video for YouTube? No, not in the middle of a riot.
They didn't care that they were journalists. Their directive wasn't to go out there and make sure that the journalists can capture everything. Their directive was go out there and get everybody off the fucking streets.
Everybody, including
everybody.
Yes. And it's like, sorry, that's not how this shit works, man.
Including the people set up there for medical attention if anybody needed it. They came through and stabbed all the water bottles just to make sure that nobody could, I don't know, not dehydrate.
What are they, fucking college football coaches from the 1950s? Water's for the weak. You can't have any. Like,
you protesters are going to cramp up. We're doing this for your own good.
Hey, when you stop running, you better start walking. If not, your legs will lock up on you. Oh, crazy. But I have seen this too, and this goes back to it was Joe Rogan brought it up. He had Reggie Watts on his show, and they were talking about things that are just underreported in all of this. And one of them is, and they pulled up multiple sources from multiple news, sources. So I mean, I haven't done my due diligence. I could be getting taken for a ride. I don't think so, but I mean, there were news organizations out there taking pictures of piles of bricks left, like, out. Why is there a pile of bricks left out in the middle of a riot? Who put them out there? For what purpose? What's going on here? Who's trying to get this shit popping off? And, I mean, it goes back to, is it Antifa? Kind of doubt it. And I'm no fan of Antifa. But I doubt it. I mean, is it the Boogaloo Boys or whatever? You're being, by the way, that's, when they're like, oh, that's a right-wing organization, it's a hate organization. Really? It's a fucking meme on the internet, man. Like, once again, you guys are letting Pepe the Frog get in your fucking head a little too deep. Calm down. All right? But it doesn't matter who it is. The point is, someone is trying to agitate the situation and going like, it's like leaving chocolate and peanut butter sitting next to each other around a little
right.
kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, there's a big plate glass window and a pile of brand new bricks. And then you see videos of like people walking in police issue gas masks with fucking umbrellas, casually busting out I mean, just like looking like fucking Mary Poppins with her umbrella, just walking down the street, busting out windows with a baton.
I don't know who put those bricks out either, but all I'm going to say is if it was a Russian operation, it would be super cheap and greatly rewarded. The cost versus reward ratio there would be tremendous.
Oh, you mean like basically a Russian agitator?
Absolutely. I mean, why not?
Very well could be. I mean, hey, look, we do it all the time.
They gotta be loving this. They gotta be loving this right now.
Well, I was telling my wife a couple days ago, man, if I'm one of our enemies, I'm going now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yes.
They are all distracted. They are burning their cities down. They're all yelling at each other. Right. I'm surprised China's not got a fucking armada about to hit L.A. here in a couple hours.
No, but no, you still let them rip each other apart. You just keep prodding them along.
Yeah, like that meme of the guy with the stick poking America.
Yeah, come on, do Civil War.
Civil War, yeah. I mean, look, man, I got to be careful what I say because I don't know this. I'm not trying to inflame a situation, but I'm just saying, like, I think the anger's justified. I think the protests are justified, and I'm not sorry for it. At the same time, I'm gonna tell you this. I think a lot of it's fear mongering, but there has been screenshots of posts, and people going into like Facebook groups for the local cities around here, and they're like, hey, this group says they're gonna come and take the fight to the suburbs where the real racists are. And they specifically mentioned Westland and Livonia. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we got some racists out here. But really? You want to go where the real racists are? Go to Howell. That's where the Klan fucking lives. Go out there and try that shit.
I'm telling you, I said it in the chat. You will see everyone will put their Malcolm X beanies away real quick if this shit hits the suburbs. You get in Karen's backyard, literally, everyone's attitude about not using military is going to change real fucking quick.
Well, first of all, what the fuck's the military going to do except for show up after everything's fucking went down? I'm just saying, I'll support you. You want to fucking march through my neighborhood? That's fine. You pick up something and throw it at me, at my house, and my family and friends. You're going to get one warning, and then you know what? I'll take my chances with a jury of 12.
I'm just basing it on historically what's happened. Eventually, our governments, federal or state or local, will just get to a point where they go, all right, shut it down. Like, where the chaos someone will eventually have enough of the chaos.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
That's what happened in Detroit in '67. That's why the military was brought in, to make sure that it didn't go out to the suburbs. They were fine with the rioting when it looked like it was going to be contained in the city. They're like,
that's what I'm saying.
You know what? We're kind of over that city anyway, so they can go ahead and fuck their own city up.
I'm trying to say,
they want to come out here? No.
It's still like that, dude. That's what I'm saying.
No, absolutely it will be like that, yeah.
You know what, though? I will say this, because this was on Monday that I started seeing those screenshots, and people were like, they're saying they're going to come out to the suburbs here Tuesday and Wednesday. I drove past the Westland Police Station. They were going to meet there at 4:00 in the afternoon. I drove past at like 4:30 the other day, and there was 4 people out there, one sign, and that was it. I'm like, if that's the violent riot that was being planned, someone got taken for a ride. That's just all there is to it.
I live in a suburb 5 miles north of Detroit, right off the freeway. You know what happened on fucking the other day? No, it's not. I'm playing the cricket sound effect. But yeah, that's what happened. Now
you watched some more shows on Netflix.
Yeah,
that's what happened. It's
because that's the thing that bothers me too. Is all these a lot of these people are fine going down to the cities, fucking shit up, and then going back home where their shit's all fine. That bothers me too.
No, that pisses me off.
Little suburban youth fucking warriors. You're going to, like, I guess because it's where we live, right? I was explaining this to my sister-in-law. It has taken 60 fucking years to get Detroit to where we're actually saying it has a chance to come back. Or whatever 53 years or whatever. Whenever Detroit was. All right, that's the shit that bothers me. people coming down, going down to cities, fucking it all up, and then going back home to the suburbs. And like, yeah, we did something. What you did is you set your city back but 2 fucking decades at least.
I will say this though, man. I have some friends that still live in Detroit, and they hold true to that. Dialing 911 is a waste of fucking time and effort. And they protect their neighborhoods, and they're protecting their neighborhood, and all that bullshit missed their neighborhood. I'm like, do what you got to do. That's what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. I understand, but I also understand that you start fucking letting people from the suburbs come in and loot and kill. Okay, case in point. Here, if you're not from Michigan, we had someone at one of the protests that turned violent a few days ago. I think he was 19. He was shot dead. It wasn't a cop that shot him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't shot about a protest. It was literally a beef that he had with another person that he ran into down there, and the dude took the opportunity to blow him the fuck away.
That's just Detroit being Detroit. That's a crime of opportunity.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you wouldn't have guessed it the way it was reported. A dead protester in Detroit. News at 11. Oh, wow, someone killed a protest. Cops are killing protest. And it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to say I got to wait till 11 to hear the fucking story? Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's what I'm saying. There are so many guilty parties that are stoking the flames of this shit for their own.
It's another thing I was trying to explain to my sister-in-law. At some point, it's gone from reporting to storytelling. You got to be careful.
There's a video. If you're an animal lover, don't look this video up. There's a video. I believe it's in Memphis. Some looters. This is after the protests had been over, and the looters came out, and they broke into a rescue shelter, animal rescue shelter, stole a pit bull out of there, wrapped an electrical cord around its neck, and was hanging it on live TV behind a reporter who was doing a stand-up report. And that fucking reporter just stood there and let it happen. And I'm like, why was everyone not beating the shit out of this guy? And someone goes, and I'm like, why did that reporter keep reporting? Hey, man, she just made the front of the newscast. Got to get that story at all costs, right? Doesn't matter if an innocent animal fucking gets killed right there on live air. Hey, she's going to be the most popular newscaster in Memphis for the next couple days. Fuck all that, man. Fuck all that. That is not your job. Your job is not to fucking... If you're a journalist and you think that's your job is to just stand there while fucking people do shit like that, please go work at Walmart as a greeter or something. Seriously, get out of the... I got a real fucking problem with that. Because this isn't okay, this isn't like one of the criticisms I heard after George Floyd was killed was not just the cops standing around, but the people standing around. They didn't do anything. All those people let that man die. And I'm like, what the fuck did you want them to do?
Well, they were yelling at him. They were telling him, why don't you let that guy up? Why don't you just cuff him and get your knee off of his neck?
But I mean, what were
people
they supposed
pleading with them? I mean, what do you? I mean, sure, I guess they could have all mobbed the cop and held him down.
And there'd have been a lot more dead people at the end of that day.
Until his friends show up, and then what?
Turns into the OK Corral.
Well, it might be more with the other 3 cops that just stood around and didn't go, hey, man.
Yeah.
Knock that shit off, man.
Well,
guy's not breathing. You should knock it off.
As of today, those other 3 officers have been charged as well.
Yeah, like I said, that's... And everyone...
But this is what it took.
Yeah, but that they... And then it said, hold them to the same standards. If that was us and Earl at a bar and one of us did that to somebody, the 3 of us who watched the person do that would also be in jail. And it would have been arrested the same night. It's not the same. It's not the same standards, and I don't understand it. If you just stripped away the titles, if those are just 4 dudes, I don't get it. Why did it take a week to arrest the other 3 people who didn't stop them?
Well, you also have Minneapolis's police-approved coroner saying, well, there was underlying causes that caused his death. And I'm like, oh, what, COVID-19? I mean, what? Seriously? We know what fucking caused his death. We watched it.
Yeah, they were saying a heart attack, right? That was the first coroner's report, was he died of a heart attack. Well, yeah, like you were saying, Rich, when you like cut off the blood supply, then your organs are going to fail. So that kind of makes sense. Or a heart attack caused by somebody kneeing you in the neck.
Or it's an extremely stressful situation and you had a fucking heart attack. How about that?
Yeah. How about thinking that you're going to fucking die? That might give you a heart attack.
He was 46 years old and stressed. He might have had a heart attack.
Just the ridiculousness of the entire situation. And yeah, I at this point, you know, maybe when I was younger, I'd have been like, well, let's give, you know, cops a little bit more, you know, leeway here, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, you haven't earned it. Sorry, you haven't earned it. And guess what? Just like we all have to suffer and our rights have to be violated so you can do your jobs because a few bad apples are out roaming in the world. So, you know, here comes warrantless searches. Here comes fucking, you don't even have to be charged. We can just hold you indefinitely. All we got to do is call you a domestic terrorist. All this bullshit that the cops were never supposed to bend to use for their bullshit means to an end. And they do, which is what we tried to warn you about was going to happen. It's not just the federal government that was listening to terrorists. Eventually, they will fucking turn us into terrorists because they have to rationalize their jobs. And on top of that, y'all ain't doing a good job. You're not getting the benefit of the doubt anymore. Standards need to be higher for cops. Not the same, higher for cops than civilians.
And
to whom much is given, much is expected. If you can't deal with it, don't work the fucking job.
And you're right, Chris, you had mentioned this at the top of our discussion. You know, it's not just the cops. It's the whole system all the way up. It has to start with the police. But, you know, you're talking about the judges that are backing them up on this. We have protesters. In New York, it's illegal to hold a person for more than 24 hours without putting them before a judge so they can have a chance to be properly charged.
And if they try to drag out some tired shit and claim them as domestic terrorists, is that still hold true? Do you know?
Well, that would have to be the federal government coming in, I think, and doing that. I think the FBI would take charge of your prisoner at that point. But for, you know, just a normal crime against the state of New York, that's the law. But they've held protesters and rioters that they've arrested in New York longer than 24 hours without seeing a judge, claiming that because of COVID-19 and we can't do
because of COVID.
We can't do in person. We can't actually put all these people in a courtroom. That it all takes longer, so we need to hold these people for long. I'm like, bullshit. Doing this shit over Zoom is actually a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think it's Florida. A couple counties in Florida, they do, when you're arrested, you get arrested, you get taken to the police station, they put you in a jumpsuit, and you see the judge via teleconference.
Right.
You're not even in a courtroom.
Because they probably have a similar, I mean, I don't know what the law is like in Michigan, but believe me, I spent a whole weekend in a holding cell because I got nabbed on a Friday night. And the judge wasn't in until Sunday morning. But still, they had to legally put me before the judge on Monday morning.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, shit. They even... I know a guy who just 9 months ago, he got popped for DUI. He just got charged for it. If they'd have waited another 3 months, they couldn't have charged him. So there is a limit to how long you can... I mean, except for murder. Murder stays murder forever, so.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
What do you want to da-da-da? What do y'all want to da-da-da? I have no idea what to da-da-da. We could switch to Progressive da. Oh, yeah? We could switch to Progressive and sa. Okay. We could sa and have to buy some za. Oh, yeah. Let's switch to Progressive da and get some za with the money we saw. Yeah. Now we know we're gonna da-da-da.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. It might just be the most normal thing you da-da-da.
Quote-a-da at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you're looking for COVID-19 testing, look into Quest, the lab that's processed over 25 million tests and counting. You can get the same test hospitals use without a doctor visit. Simply order online, select from drive-through or at-home options, and get results sent securely to your phone or computer. It's experience and accuracy you can trust from Quest, the largest medical testing lab in the country. So order today at questcovid19.com. That's questcovid19.com.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
Estar adelante de mis pagos mensuales siempre fue un desafío y no creía que hubiera otra forma de manejar mi dinero. Solía pagar cargos por cada cheque de cajero y giro postal, hasta que escuché sobre Chase Secure Banking. Ahora puedo pagar servicios, cobrar cheques y enviar dinero, todo por un cargo mensual por servicio de $4.95. Así que decidí darle una segunda oportunidad a la banca.
Visita chase.com/Secure Banking para abrir tu cuenta sin depósito mínimo. Chase, logra más con lo que tienes.
Se aplican cargos por ATMs que no pertenecen a Chase. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. miembro de FDIC.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
But I don't know. The whole system is fucked up, and I'm sorry, but at this point, we can't fucking sit here and go, oh, this shit ain't happening, or it's not happening as much as you say, shit like this. What about all the fucking ones we don't hear about or we've forgotten about? Like the guy who was crawling. I showed the video to my buddy Scott of the guy that was in the hallway. The piece of shit cop who had the Punisher painted on his fucking body armor. Yeah.
Oh,
why are you even
thing?
a cop? Yeah. And he's like, Scott's sitting there and he's like, this is ridiculous. What is he playing? Fucking Twister with him? Put your hands. If you move and you do something wrong, you will die, and all this shit. And I'm like, you've never seen this? He's like, no. I'm like, well, it's cold-blooded murder, man. It's straight up is what it is.
The guy tries to pull his shorts up so he doesn't show his ass, and they shoot him.
And I'm like, basically, he died because he wasn't in shape enough to follow the cops' ridiculous instructions. That's big. I mean, it's bad enough you can die from fucking diabetes or heart attack or stroke because you're fat, but now I got to worry about getting shot by a cop too? Fuck that. I mean, and
you know why we haven't seen it, Rich? I'll be that guy. Get
out of the car faster.
No, absolutely.
I only got one speed.
Absolutely, it is a race thing because yes, if that was a black guy and a white cop. Oh, God.
Yeah,
that would have probably popped some shit off.
That guy was executed.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, we have seen so many of these videos. I literally see them now, and I don't bring them up to you guys unless it's a national story because there's just so many of them. Like, right after George Floyd was killed, on Facebook, I saw, I'm not joking, like 7-8 different videos just locally of people posting, like, this is what the cops do here. One cop runs up on a guy's property, doesn't ask for ID, just grabs him, starts manhandling him. And he's like, what are you doing? Get off my property. Get off me. What are you doing? What are you doing? You got a warrant? And the cop just beats the shit out of him, slams him on the ground, handcuffs him, slams his head against the fucking car as he's throwing him in the back seat, takes off. And I'm like, when did this happen? That happened the same day that George Floyd was killed. And there was 7 other videos showing same type of shit.
My wife has a story that I can't tell. It involves abuse of power, the court's taking care of, like, the story's ridiculous. And it checks all the boxes. And it's because this is really all if you get down to this is all about abuse of power. And what do you expect when you give the guy that used to be a bouncer at your local fucking watering hole a badge and a gun because he aged out of throwing 22-year-olds out on the street?
It's institutional too. I mean, this is the Catholic Church all over again.
Yeah, why was Derek Chauvin a cop? 18 complaints in the last 19 years?
Yeah. I'll just, reprimand him, send him home for a week, shuffle some guys around.
I don't know about you guys, but where I work, by about complaint 3, it would be, see ya. Thanks for playing.
Oh, shit. I've worked for some managers, especially if you're working with the public, one complaint from the public, bye-bye. One strike,
one Karen could end your career.
Yep. In a heartbeat. And I don't. We have some answers. Chris, when you asked at the beginning of the show, what do you do? And we threw some out there. Now, yeah, granted, whatever. I'm not an expert in implementing them, but there are people who are, and they need to get fucking on it. And we need to let it happen. And we need to fucking change the way policing is done in this fucking country. Because if not, I'm going to tell you, people are going to start arming themselves. And they're going to start seeing the cops as violent criminals. And the Supreme Court's already said, no-knock warrants, if you get your door kicked in and you don't know it's cops because they don't announce themselves, you have a right to defend yourself. And the first time someone shoots down some fucking cops in that situation, you know what's going to happen. It's going to make everything we're seeing now look like a fucking joke, especially if that person doesn't get charged with murder. Because the cops will just fucking let the whole situation burn down.
Yeah, but they're some sort of radical. They're domestic terrorists. They have a criminal background. They made a porno.
That's what. First of all, if he did, I don't know. I think it's a Photoshop picture. But if he did, good for him.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Hit you with his dick?
He's out there chewing fentanyl and making home porn like half the fucking country.
By the way, by making porn, he's brought more joy to more people than probably that cop who killed him ever has. So. Right. No matter, I got some joy for the first 45 seconds. I didn't need it after that.
All I need is photos of each one to know which one I'd rather hang out with.
Hey, by the way, guys, silver lining in all this. COVID's over, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. That's another thing. I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
Which the death ticker's gone on CNN. I find that hilarious. It's been gone for about a week.
Well, look, I don't know why we're not listening. All these smart doctors are saying, you know what, this is what we've got it down to. This is transmitted by prolonged exposure in enclosed areas with poor ventilation. That's it.
It's now making me wonder.
If you're actually out there yelling in somebody's face out in public and outdoors, it doesn't matter how fucking windy it is. I'm sure some droplets are going to get into the other person's mouth or whatever the fuck. But this is just not the beaches. I think the pool party is probably a different story. Maybe not.
No,
but in general, I have people getting outside, this is not an issue.
Hey, I'll tell you, I have direct contact with a few people in that part of the country where the pool party was. Nothing. Where's it again? Just saying, a regular talk to them a couple times a week. Nothing's going on down there COVID-wise as far as the big outbreak that was going to happen from that party.
This is another reason that I'm really over a lot of the media. When Al-Qaeda was out there in fucking Lansing, you know what I'm saying? Oh, sorry, you haven't heard that one before? But yeah, it was the end of the world because they're going to spread COVID and kill everybody because they're not wearing masks and they're getting haircuts. I've yet to hear that narrative be brought up by anybody.
We talked about it in this show.
But NPR, from the major news networks.
We talked about it in this show, and you know what? We never saw that big outbreak in Michigan we all thought was going to happen after those protests. I'm not trying to go all Michigan protester on you guys, but I'm now starting to have a lot of questions about what the hell we were doing the last 3 months. Why'd we shut down baseball? Why'd we shut? If you got a patio, why'd we shut that down? I'm starting to have questions.
Well, no, there's factors for all that. Like why baseball? Because lines, right? Unless you.
But they're stadiums.
I think
they're outdoors.
No, I get it, but they have to figure out a way to safely get everybody in and out of that stadium without crowding everybody else. And
yeah, but so everyone's been marching in a nice straight line in the protests, I guess.
Well, no, this is how come, Chris, this is when you can tell Aaron's not a sports fan. The Detroit Tigers have figured out how to make the line real short. They just suck.
Yeah, like I said, the season could have started in April. We'd all be fine.
When they sucked this bad last time, I went to a game with announced attendance of under 3,000. I literally had nobody on the third base side sitting with me. Like, it was crazy. It was. I mean, that I didn't come with. So
but I'm starting to outdoor concert venues. Like, why'd we shut down golf courses? Like, that's
but. I mean, I think you know, right? Because why did we shut it down? Are you really? I mean, we didn't know any of this shit.
That's the one saving grace in this. I think that's what justifies it. When you got so many experts, so many doctors, so many people who are biochemists, etc., going, we don't know how bad this is. It's better to err on the side of caution.
Yeah, I don't see being overly cautious about this as a criticism. I mean, I think it's good news that, like, hey, it turns out that you're not. It's not to say that you can't be exposed. It can't be transmitted outside. It's just not the primary way that this disease is being transmitted. Just like it may be possible to transmit it through an object. But I think you'd actually have to cough onto that object and then somebody wipe their hand on it and then touch their face.
Yeah, CDC came out a couple weeks ago and said objects. At this point, they're saying surface transmission's pretty low.
Yeah.
So yeah, you almost got to work at it to get it.
Like, you got to lick the surface.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bad faith argument to try and say that, like, oh, because we flatten the curve, then all this is not necessary because, look, the curve is flat.
Well, I think also that we don't know how warmer temperatures, direct sunlight is going to affect this. It could make...
Well, actually, there has been stuff that's come out about this. That ultraviolet light, it doesn't do... Well, it's like most viruses. It doesn't do well in ultraviolet light. And yeah, warmer temperatures seem to slow the transmission of this thing.
Right, which only means that we're going to get another spike in the fall.
Exactly. But unless we come up with some sort of annual shot for it, which is what a lot of doctors are saying we're going to end up doing. It's going to be like getting a flu shot.
Overall, we're fucking lucky, all right? And I know that there are people out there who have had their lives overturned by all of this shelter in place. There's people who've lost their lives to this disease. But as the human race in general, we are actually, this is big picture probably going to be good for us long term, because there's something else scarier in our future. And hopefully this is like a training wheels disease that we can, get our shit together on. And when the real shit starts coming through, that we have no cure, no way to stop transmission, at least we'll have some experience with dealing with something in this serious nature. None of this is wasted. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that, maybe we didn't have to shut down outdoor venues and stuff like that. And a lot of people didn't have to unnecessarily lose their jobs. So we just didn't know. We didn't know any of this shit. And we're not good at retaining information either as a species, but hopefully we remember this stuff for long enough that when this shit comes around again, we'll have a better handle on it. But we didn't know because we're just too lazy and too complacent too. We haven't had to deal with a pandemic situation like this in quite some time, and we just felt like that was in our past.
Yeah, this really did show. It exposed a huge hole in our preparedness for this type of shit.
Yeah.
And it seems like...
And it starts with electing leaders that actually think that it's important.
Oh, well, I mean...
That's the biggest hole.
I've been...
We're still at fault.
This goes back to me to W with, no, we're not going to go look into do any stem cell research because of my religious faith. Okay, well, if you don't like stem cell research because of your religion, then don't participate in it. Can we let the scientists and doctors do their shit that they need to do, though?
Yeah.
Because we're falling behind exponentially the rest of the world in this shit.
Somebody should have started a religion that was like, my religion is that I get to live forever, and I'm going to do it with fucking stem cells. So you're infringing on my religious rights.
I'm surprised. You know what? I'm really kind of shocked that the Scientologists haven't jumped on that idea.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, because they believe some crazy shit. I mean, the talking snake. Oh, yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That's the good religion that I can buy into. It's the aliens and throwing our souls in the caves and shit or whatever the fuck that they say. Thetans or whatever. But no, what happened might not have needed to happen in retrospect, but once again, I would rather the whole country kind of take a 3-month See, it hasn't felt like a pause for me because I worked the entire. Now the state's opening back up. I don't have a job. The last 3 months I've had a fucking job. Like when everyone was afraid to die to leave the house, I'm leaving the house on a daily basis, interacting with 100 people or so. And so it don't feel like it's been a 3-month break for me. I'm just like, can I get 2 weeks of unemployment before I have to go get another job? Just something, Like, can I get a little bit of what you guys have had? Just sitting at home chilling a little bit? No, all right. But I'd rather err on the side of caution with this, and if we don't learn from it, which, Aaron, I'm with you, we don't learn from our fucking mistakes, the next one could be the one that really does bite us in the ass. And by the way, it's not that fucking long ago that, common fucking colds were wiping out fucking entire cities worth of people. I mean, we're not that far away from that, really. I mean, if this type of shit can happen from someone eating something in an open air fucking butcher shop or something in China, what the fuck else is going on in the rainforest that we don't know about? Like, what's going to crawl out of there?
Yeah.
Like something make your asshole prolapse? Oh, wonderful.
There was a doctor that was on Penn Jillette's show, and this is one of the doctors that has helped him with his diet, going all plant-based and all this shit, but he's a real doctor. He's not some kind of quackpot. And he was talking about, early on, people were saying, oh, well, this is only a little bit worse than the flu. And he said, only a little bit worse than the flu? The flu fucking sucks. The flu kills a lot of people. And as a doctor, it's like the bane of our existence. Like, we can't cure the common flu. We can't stop that it's constantly mutating. If you're telling me this is anything like the flu, but only a little bit worse, then we've got a major fucking problem on our hands.
Dude, I've now heard it from 2 people this week. You know anybody who's died from COVID? And one of them was somebody who had it.
Yeah. It's a hoax. Motherfucker, you said you had it twice. But anyways, let's digress. Yeah. He ain't here to defend himself.
No, but I'm just saying that mentality's out there.
Look, I'm definitely not one of these people that think this is all a big hoax, big bunch of bullshit. I do have a few friends who, yes, they do. And I'm like, well, you know what, dude? It's just like trying to talk someone out of believing in a God. I'm not going to get anywhere with you. So I'm just, whatever. Think what you want, man. It's really sad that I've developed the attitude of we can't save everybody. And by the way, all these people that are walking around telling me that they believe it's a hoax, it's not real. This is just so the government can microchip us and I've collected, Aaron, I gave a Cliff Notes version of this massive conspiracy theory that some of my friends are putting forward, that it all starts the night of Trump's election and it culminates with COVID-19. And how this is all the Democrats had plotted this ever since he won the election, and to get him out of power, to ruin the economy that he saved and all this shit. And and when they're testing us, they're keeping our DNA. So they're having everybody's DNA on file, and we're going to have be microchipped with, okay, I've had COVID, but I'm okay now, and all this shit. Like, there's all these crazy conspiracy theories, and I'm like, y'all motherfuckers smoking real good shit. Now I know the dispensaries haven't shut down. Like, for sure they're making some money, because you got to be high as giraffe pussy to believe some of this bullshit, man.
And they got ideas, man. Netflix should be calling them, get your ass on Black Mirror.
I'm telling you, some of the shit they've come up with, it's better than the last season of Game of Thrones.
And guys, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm with you on the better safe than sorry side, but again, like, from everything that we've been told in the last, 3 months, I'm expecting to hear the hospital systems be overrun here in the next few days, and that's just not how it's happening. We're not hearing down in Springfield, out in Missouri. We're not hearing about that. That guy was cut. I'm waiting for the outbreak up in Owasso with that guy who was cutting hair he's been cutting hair for over a month now.
The politician said early on, let's listen to the doctors. And the doctor said early on, we don't know a lot, but here's what we know can prevent just about any disease from spreading. So let's do all of that. And then the politicians stopped listening to the doctors as they continued to modify as they got new information, did new studies, and looked at the numbers and said, okay, here's what we think now. And they're just like, yeah, I hear you on that, but we're just not ready.
Yeah, because there's audio of us talking about the bloodbath in Florida that never fucking happened.
But it's also, it's not just about whether the governor says that you can have indoor movies or outdoor concerts or whatever. It's when people are comfortable with it. That's going to come a lot later, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, there's just, I'm starting to ask questions. And I'm starting to okay, well, we were told this, that A was supposed to lead to B and then B is supposed to lead to C. But now we're not kind of seeing that.
I mean, sure, hypocrisy is everywhere, but when you see the 180, the complete heel turn on an issue in the matter of days when it comes to matters of free speech and personal freedom.
Oh yeah, right.
How the Trump supporters go from our governors and local government telling I can't get a haircut and I can't go outside even to jog, and then somebody goes outside and starts yelling. And they're like, get the police after them, lock them up, get the military out here. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about personal freedoms. You just want to do what you want to do.
You're right, but to be fair, it went the other way. Because remember in Michigan with the protests, you're going to cause the stay-at-home order to be longer, and we're going to have the outbreak's going to, you're going to cause it to go longer. And then with this one, it's up. If you're going to go to the protest, wear a mask.
But
no,
don't you?
I don't see that as equivalent, really, because the protests and the demonstrations were we don't want to go out. We don't want to go out and possibly expose ourselves. But you know what? This is too fucking important.
But I mean, don't you see that if this is another problem that we got a lot of problems in fucking society, but this is another problem we have, to where if a scientist goes, we don't really know for sure what we're dealing with. We think we're dealing with this. Then new information presents itself and he changes or reverses himself. Every single person who's like, oh, this is all one big hoax, go, see?
Yeah.
See? And it's like, do you understand how science works? Do you understand that you're constantly trying to disprove yourself? That's the scientific method. You're constantly putting what you believe to the test, and if it doesn't pass, then you change what you believe or what you think you know. And no, they don't. They just want to go flip-flopper. See, it's all a hoax.
Dude, I just sent you guys a story where they had to explain about science. Didn't I send you guys that story? Or was it they had to explain in the story about, like, actually changing, what was the line in the story? Actually changing your mind based on obtaining new information is a badge of honor in the scientific community. I was like, we had to write that down for people. We're fucked.
No, I'm trying, I was listening to Star Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast, and the person that he was interviewing was talking about setting up the parameters for the experiments that he's doing and the scientific tests that he's doing. And he says you have to structure your tests in a way that leave open certain elements of surprise, right? You have to have controls, but you don't want to control all aspects of your experiment to the point where it's just a pass-fail result. It either says what I think it says or it doesn't. There has to be some kind of factor in there that allows you to get new information that you weren't expecting.
You have to leave room for nuance, which we don't do anymore with anything, ever. not in the United States.
I know, it is. This is maddening that somehow there are people walking around, and I've seen this for the last 4 days. If you don't agree with me, you can unfriend me. So apparently none of my friends are friends with each other anymore because everyone's arguing.
Yeah,
but we'll see, Like, no, you want to argue. That's the thing. That's why you're doing this. That is basically you running something up a flagpole saying, hey, come argue with me. By doing that, you're asking for it. But that's neither here.
This you have to agree with me or else has been ratcheted up in the last week.
Yeah, why can't I go, I support the protesters, but no, I'm not going to sit here and fucking co-sign on them destroying businesses and private property. And those aren't protesters. Those are criminals. Protesters are doing nothing wrong. Those people that are doing rioters. That shit are rioters. They're two separate things. And yes, I can support the protesters and go, yeah, you guys are a bunch of assholes. And if I was a business owner, they'd be staring down the barrel of my fucking gun too, because I'd be standing out there going, keep moving, asshole.
Yeah.
Find someplace else.
Not today and not here.
I mean, but, well, if you say that, you hate racist, hate black people, hate Black Lives Matter, think the cop was right. Oh man, you're just assigning a whole bunch of bullshit I never said to me. Like it's a fact. It's not a fact. This is your bullshit fantasy land that you fucking have lived in for so fucking long that you now think it's real. It's not. And this is the real world biting you in the ass, and you can't reconcile the real world don't fit into your little fantasy bubble where everything is black and white, right or wrong, left or right.
Rationalizing bad behavior doesn't make it not bad behavior. And that can apply to so many facets of this situation.
Absolutely. And I mean, and even when these
that's why we have manslaughter.
Yeah.
Even these people
rationalize bad behavior. It's still punished.
Even the people who are calling out, like anyone who goes, I think rioting is wrong. Okay, racist. Okay, boomer, and all this bullshit. Okay, well, why is it wrong to say that again? Why is it wrong to say I don't think you should be destroying shit people have worked their entire life for?
Well, riots. It's just always a bad thing, right? There's no.
Yeah.
I understand that. Hopefully, they're a bad thing that maybe you could get some positive results out of.
But when have they worked? I had to do this with my sister-in-law. Did they work in Detroit 67? No. Did they work in Watson 67? No. Did they work in St. Louis 68? No. Did they work in Los Angeles in 92? No. Did they work in Ferguson in 2015? No.
How do you mean that they didn't work?
They make it worse. They make the racial divide worse. That's 67. That's what turned Detroit. That's what sent all the white people to the suburbs. It makes it worse. Like the last thing that got something done in this country was largely based in peace, and then we killed them. But
right. But nobody participates in a riot thinking this will make it better.
But it seems to be there's this mentality out there, this particular one, that it will. And maybe just because social media is amplifying that, and we didn't have that before.
But see, these people that are like trying to, like, I guess, virtue signal by saying if you don't agree with the rioters, you're racist and you support cops killing black people. Okay, wait a minute. No, the rioters are not the protesters.
All right,
correct.
We've established this. Stop defending them. They're not the same fucking people. And by the way, you should be pissed off that these fucking lily white suburb dwelling fucking jackasses are coming down there and destroying your fucking neighborhood. And by the way,
and then leaving.
They're robbing you of your shit and going back to the suburbs.
Yep.
Why ain't you? Why is it so hard to go, fuck them assholes? Why can't I do that? I'm not. In no point have I been like, every rioter or every protester's a rioter, and this is they're protesting a bullshit situation. I've never said any of that, and no one I know has. And I've seen so many fucking people flipping the fuck out. Like the meme of it's Cyndi Lauper holding a fucking smartphone, and it says, "I see your true colors shining through. That's why I blocked you."
Wow.
And I'm like, does that make your 2 centimeter dick feel bigger there, buddy?
Yeah, it does actually. It's
really. To get your dick to come out of your body, do you have to stick your finger in your belly button or something? Like, is there like a button? Because you got the smallest dick in the world. If you think that is like the height of, I see a lot of things about people I never knew. Yeah. Not a lot of people are big fans of criminals who destroy personal property and businesses. I don't understand. What is the problem here?
I loved Keisha Lance Bottoms. I loved her on was it Saturday morning, Friday night? Talking about the Atlanta mayor. Just what are you doing? Hey, by the way, you're fucking up mostly Killer Mike's and T.I. shit. By the way, think you're helping us out? Stop fucking up our city and go home.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party... Oh, there you are.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At LL Flooring, we're pros at helping pros find the right floor for even your pickiest clients. So if they want waterproof flooring, but it's got to be sturdy so their dog can jump around without making a mark, and strong enough to handle the broken no cleats in the house rule over and over and over again, all for a great price? That's easy, because we can help clients stay on budget while delivering on quality they want. Why else would we have over 400 floors? These are the floors homes are built on. Lumber Liquidators is now LL Flooring.
What do you want to da-da-da? What do you want to da-da-da? I have no idea what to da-da-da. We could switch to Progressive da. Oh yeah? We could switch to Progressive and sa. Okay. We could sa and have to buy some za. Oh yeah, let's switch to Progressive to da and get some za with the money we saw. Yeah! Now we know we're gonna da-da-da.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. It might just be the most normal thing you da-to-da.
Quote to da at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
Well, like I said, if I was any way an organizer, a leader in the Black Lives Matter movements or trying to put together peaceful protests, I would be putting as much distance between myself and these fucking scumbags as possible. And I would do it with a smile on my face going, that ain't us. You see who it is. You see the arrest reports the night after every day in Detroit and West Bloomfield, Redford, all suburb cities. It ain't us. This is y'all. You tell us to keep our house clean, you clean your house and get them out of my backyard. That's exactly what I'd be saying.
I also want a forensic accountant to find out how many of these people are registered to vote. It's Barry Obama's the other day, pretty much calling, saying, hey, remember everybody, there's a way to actually affect change. Happens every November, not just every four.
He's also now been the more progressive side of Democrats have jettisoned him from the party. He's considered he's basically considered like W light.
Neat.
Yeah, so they don't listen to it. Doesn't matter. They don't listen to him anymore.
Enjoy more Trump.
By the way, real quick, I've had a few friends of mine who are former military post this unclassified document from the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff that's from June 2nd. And
I like the Joint Chiefs of Staff, though.
Chiefs of Staff. That was me fucking up, but it fit. I guess
that's Freudian as well.
It's Freudian slip. But yeah, it's from Commandant of the Corps, Chief of Naval Operations, Chief of Space Operations. They actually got one of those. So
they got Steve Carell?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I mean, but it's rather short. I'll read it. It says, subject to the joint force. Number 1, every member of the U.S. military swears an oath to support and defend the Constitution and the values embedded within it. This document is founded on the essential principle that all men and women are born free and equal and should be treated with respect and dignity. It also gives Americans the right of freedom of speech and peaceful assembly. We in uniform, all branches, all components, and all ranks remain committed to our national values and principles embedded in the Constitution. 2, during this crisis, the National Guard is operating under the authority of state governors to protect lives and property, preserve peace, and ensure public safety. 3, as members of the Joint Chief or the Joint Force, comprised of all races, colors, and creeds, you embody the ideals of our Constitution. Please remind all of our troops and leaders that we will uphold the values of our nation and operate consistent with national laws and our own high standards of conduct at all times. And then, I'm not sure, it's from General Mark A. Milley, how you pronounce his name. But it looks like there's a little handwritten note that says, we all committed our lives to the idea that this is America, and we will stay true to that and the American people. And it's being taken as the military might not fucking be so quick to come in there and start doing what these local police departments are doing. That's the way a lot of people are taking this statement.
Yeah. And
if that's the case, more power to them, man. Because the last thing if the military rolls in and escalates shit like certain police departments in certain areas of this country have done, it's going to get real ugly. So I can only hope that that's one, true, and that is exactly what is coming down from the top brass to the rank and file, that, hey, these are American citizens, and unless they're committing a crime and you witness it, you are not to do anything to harm them. They are peacefully protesting, which is their right. So I know Aaron, you weren't on last week's show. Chris and I kind of talked about it a little bit. I don't even really know if it made it on air, to be honest with you, but we were talking about, do we think that they would actually fire on civilians? And I'm like, the military's a wild card. But if that's how it's coming down from like I said, the top brass and Mattis. Did you hear about Mad Dog Mattis?
Yep.
He just shit all over Trump. That is unprecedented for a former fucking general to speak out against a sitting president.
Here's another one. Retired General Martin Dempsey. This is just recently NPR, and within the last half hour, is reporting on his statement. This is part of it. The idea that the military would be called in to dominate and suppress what, for the most part, were peaceful protests. Admittedly, some had opportunistically turned them violent, and that the military would somehow come in and calm that situation was very dangerous to me.
There you go. I mean, we haven't even really brought up Trump in all this for the most part, but I mean, when the violence or when the looting starts, the shooting starts, like, is that really helping? Helping or hurting? Helping or hurting? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying. And yes, you are calling out criminals.
He's also a fucking coward. I mean, he's tweeting this out from his fucking bunker. His staff was begging him to, like, please address the nation. It's in turmoil right now. This is part of your job, to try and calm these people down.
Aaron, he couldn't do it
because Trump. This is what I was trying to get at, a while back. Like, Trump doesn't really lie. He always says what he believes. He just believes really fucked up things. So he can't get out there and say, "Oh, it's going to be all right, and we should come together." No, that's not going to win him any votes.
It was an inspection. Didn't you hear him? It was more like an inspection. He went down during the day. Which, by the way, guys, oh
my God, he lies like a 13-year-old.
Dude, the photo, all right? Here's his inner dialogue. Church. That's what he's holding up. That's all.
They did all of that so that he could stand like a fucking, like the weird lopped-off centaur that he is.
That is the only thing that could be going through his head. Church.
He's like a centaur that somebody had lopped off the back half of, and he's still used to leaning forward.
I'm at church. I'm holding a Bible. That's what you do at church, right?
He wouldn't, like, no expression on his face, holds a Bible up, that's what I see people doing all the time. Like, they go to church, they hold their Bible up in the air, and they have no expression on their face.
Look, I'm at church.
And they have their wife next to them, standing very solemn, very stone-faced.
Look, I'm at church. I'm holding the Bible. That's what you do at church, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you going to vote for me now, evangelicals? All right, cool.
Not everyone's buying that shit either.
The fact that
it seems like the religious right is pretty evenly split on whether that was a good idea or not.
Like, that photo made me laugh, and it was because that's all I could see. Like, it could be church. That's all I could think of. Like, that's.
But the fact that they had to gas the priests and demonstrators that were at the church in order to get them to move so they could have their photo out. That's unforgivable. I don't know how you get away with that shit.
You're the government.
Hatred. That's how you get away with this.
You cloak everything in we're the government.
There was so much hatred for Obama, and there's so much that Trump supporters will just turn a blind eye to anything, man. It's the only explanation I have, because I don't understand it. I have a friend who's rather conservative, and every time I bring up anything to do with Trump, he like half-ass tries to defend him, and I was like, okay, whoa, because he started pulling some whataboutism on me. He's like, what about Fast and Furious? I'm like, all right, hold on, time out. What? As best you can understand, what was Fast and Furious? Giving guns to cartels in Mexico? Like, that started on Obama's watch? That's been going on for fucking decades. Did you think because a black president got in there that all the shady shit we've been doing since World War II and before even was going to stop?
Right. You mean we armed people in a country that weren't affiliated with the government? That's like the CIA's oldest practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is nothing new under the sun, folks.
It's cheaper than sending our troops.
There is nothing new under the sun. The shit, the shady shit that America has been pulling for fucking 70 plus years, and that's just
the people didn't even understand. People couldn't even understand the actual scandal. That there was a scandal. It's just that it wasn't because they were sending guns over there with the idea of tracing them, and they lost track of them. That was the scandal. They flubbed the mission. Not that they sent the guns over, that they couldn't successfully trace the guns that they sent over.
You mean cartels are good at keeping shit off the radar? Get the fuck out of here. Who could have saw that coming?
Well, once again, to me that is the example that pops in my head the minute people are like, man, wow, how could Trump get away with this shit? Because they hated Obama this bad, and he is the antithesis of Obama. in almost every single possible fucking conceivable way. And that's enough for him. And I'm sorry, even if I didn't like Obama, even if I hated a lot of his policies, that doesn't mean we get even worse policies or just as bad policies from the other side of the aisle, and that's going to make everything better. I mean, is there any doubt, honestly, guys, if you don't feel this way, and I'm the only one, I'll stand on that island, I have no problem, but is there any doubt in you guys' mind that he has made this situation worse?
Oh, none whatsoever.
I think he's just been absent.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's worse.
Boom. Because the minute former presidents, W come out and spoke out about it, Obama come out and spoke out about it, Bill Clinton would, but he's got dementia and he probably just staring at internet porn all day. And so, where is he? What's his statement? When the looting starts, the shooting starts. Oh, so you're going to threaten people who hate your guts with violence, and what do you think is going to happen? Just like if you try to push back against an authoritarian, they're going to double down on their authoritarian ways with you.
I mean, it's just after the way he handled COVID. I mean, I don't really expectations have been low to begin with, and she showed during COVID, when we need a leader, he's not going to be one, and he's just continuing to prove that.
And that absence of a leader is leaving a void that is making this situation and exasperating the situation. It's making it worse.
Fucked up is he'll probably get elected again.
Based on what?
There's a lot more people that think his way than don't think his way, as far as ideologically.
Really? That doesn't even show in his poll numbers.
Again, the polls,
like his approval rate.
Dude, if you want polls to go if you want them to go the Democratic way, call around the cities. If you want them to go the conservative way, you call the rural areas. I don't trust polls.
Then what are you basing your information on?
He's more connected. Middle America likes him more.
Right.
That's who decides
you
elections.
Would get this information from polls?
I think personally,
go ahead and don't trust polls, but if you have another source of information, I'd like to hear it.
I think personally it's going to really, a lot of, if Trump gets reelected or not, is going to hinge on who Biden picks as a running mate. I'm not bullshitting. Biden's got some dementia.
Absolutely. But Biden, just as his own greasy self, is still beating Trump in most polls.
But I mean, I think that just like with Bernie, the minute Bernie had that heart attack, I was like, that's it for Bernie. Like I get that, it was a mild one. Yeah, well, they're all mild until they're not, because those are the ones that kill you. And you're damn near an 80-year-old man, okay? I mean, that was a criticism. Why are we look at all these ancient old men that we're trying to elect, and Biden isn't any spring chicken himself, so they're going to have to go. They're going to have to. First of all, if it's not a black woman, I'll be shocked. If it's not a woman, you could knock me over with a feather. I think it's going to be a woman.
No, Biden said it's going to be a woman. He's stuck picking a woman because he said he's going to pick a woman. He promised to pick a woman.
Okay. But I bet she's going to be a lot younger and a lot more progressive on the agenda.
I hope she would be a lot younger.
Yeah, I know, because what Nancy Pelosi's going to be his fucking running mate?
Well, Chloe's got the stink of Minnesota on her now, and Whitmer fumbled. And then, he picks Warren. You might as well just hand it to Trump.
What's Whitmer's fumble?
Just how she handled Michigan.
But how she handled Michigan is unpopular with people who support Trump. So what's the downside of picking her as a running mate?
She went from everybody thinking she was doing a good job to, by the end of it, the state was pretty divided on it. That's kind of what is viewed as she's become polarizing. She's not as much of a slam dunk as she was in, let's say, the early part of April.
All right. Yeah, I'll give you that. There were a lot more conservatives that were willing to give her the benefit of the doubt before this COVID thing.
And also remember, we can't.
Still a swing state, though. I wouldn't count her out. We're still a swing state, and that could be very helpful to his campaign.
We can't know. It's impossible for us to know what goes on behind closed doors with these people.
Sure.
But you don't get to this level in politics without being a shady, shiesty fuck. And I'm sure there's a lot of Machiavellian type moves going on behind the scenes. And while I personally don't have a problem with Whitmer, I just think she's a meathead. And like I said, like anybody that has a poster of themselves behind themselves in their office and does an interview in front of it, that's like jock level meathead shit. So I just think she's like she's a meathead, and her husband's like a bad dad joke teller.
Just a touch of the Camacho.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like that one episode at Scrubs when Cox had all the interns cheer, and he's like, his name, and he's like, yeah, me. Yeah.
But I think her biggest screw up is apologizing for this Google your cut your own hair shit.
What?
And I wait a minute. I know, but give me a second. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier. It is something so stupid it shouldn't matter, right? We all agree on that.
Sure.
Problem is, her detractors are going to hop on that and grind that into everybody's fucking ear canals that they can and go, flip-flopper. See what she did? See, she's weak. She's not strong. We need a strong leader. I think that's going to be the new criticism of her, because the people that hate her because we couldn't buy seeds, which was never the truth. There's $300 worth of fucking plants growing out in the backyard of the house I'm sitting in because they bought seeds in the last 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so kiss my entire ass. That's bullshit. A lot of the shit that they were saying was bullshit. Now, you can't use a motorboat, but, you know, you can go to the weed dispensary. Her saying that this is, you know, changing mind midstream, saying that, you know, well, if you're an essential worker, we'll take care of you. And then going, well, if you work a quote-unquote Mick job, those low knowledge jobs and low paying jobs, you're not really essential. You're required. So there's gonna be no extra hazard pay for you. We're not gonna take care of you, like we said. Sorry.
I don't think it'll be a flip flopper. She'll be accused of being flighty, and it'll stick because she's a woman.
I think she's got more fight in her than that. I think she'll fucking shut that shit pretty quick.
I agree with you, but I still think that.
Oh, that it's a tactic they'll use? Oh, definitely. They're going to do anything they can to get it to stick against the wall with her. And, like, don't get me wrong. It's not that I got no crazy, insane kind of love for this woman. Like, I don't buy into the cult of personality bullshit around politicians in the first place. They're just fucking human beings. They're not gods. But I think she did the best with what she could do. And, I mean, let's be honest. She took over a fucking state that its biggest city is just coming out of bankruptcy. We got crumbling infrastructure. We're a fucking swing state that we can't decide whether we're pretty purple.
I don't know why she would want that job.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at that point, I'm like, can I take secretary of, like, state or something? Like, I don't even get, just get me out of the governor get me out of being the governor of Michigan. Like, Biden, if you win, just put me in your cabinet somewhere. Get me the fuck out of here, because this shit is fucking stupid. And then this happens, and we get hit like we did. I mean, that's what's getting lost in all this. People
then that flood,
and then the dams. Literally, the dams broke. I mean, people fucking lost to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fucking homes were destroyed, and this is all during COVID. And she's dealing with all this bullshit, and then she's got these fucking I want to go motorboating. Jesus Christ! I got more important things on the front burner. Can we handle this first? Then we'll handle your boating needs and requirements. Okay?
2020 Mad Max reality show. That's what's going on this year. I'm already pricing out flaming guitars. Who's buying the truck?
Everybody forgets in Fury Road though that they
on hair while getting a razor and a can of silver spray paint.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll up to the liquor store. Just leave. Just walk away. You'll be fine. Like, why is this guy dressed up in a hockey mask and BDSM outfit yelling at us to leave the liquor store? It's Mad Max World. But anyways, I think, like I said, I think anything they're going to, her detractors are going to, anything they can to throw at her and try to make it stick. I mean, this shit with her husband, like supposedly calling and like, can you get my boat water ready? And they're like, no, because we started 3 weeks late because state being closed down. I'm the governor's husband, if that helps. If that was a joke, then she's married to a fucking bonehead who tells dad jokes. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm telling you.
But I don't even put that on her. Like, she was handed a state that's falling apart. It continued to fall apart, and she's got a husband. That's just one more thing she's got to deal with. The fact that she keeps a cool head with all this shit.
I told you, man.
Husband.
Rich, did you ever hear her? Did you ever hear her saying that?
When I finally heard it, I agree with you 100%. Go ahead, because Aaron didn't hear yesterday.
I'm married. He did that shit. I know that tone. She's pissed.
She's like, it was his attempt at humor.
I was like, oh, he did that shit. Oh, he did that shit. He is in trouble.
He's in the doghouse.
Yeah, well, she tried. Yeah, they tried to be. Oh yeah, he was joking. Nope, he meant it for real. I'm married. I could tell by your tone.
Hey, Mr. Gretchen Whitmer, you better loosen up them jaw muscles. You're gonna have to double down on the oral.
Yeah.
Make up for this one. Start chewing gum or something. Work them muscles.
Should we end on an oral sex joke for the governor of Michigan?
Yes.
And I just want I'm really shocked at the amount of people who have like genuine hatred for her, and I'm like, has she done anything really to deserve it? Like, I don't. She's trying to control the state. That's kind of what the fuck she was hired to do.
It's in the job description.
I mean, isn't it?
She thinks she runs everything.
Thinks she runs the state of Michigan. Yes, you simple fuck. She does. Yeah, I didn't vote for her. That's great.
She's the boss of the state. Yeah, actually.
Yes.
That's just a lot of that's just sexism.
Well,
Trump signs one of his presidential decrees, and they all bow and gasp and go, "Look at this! Is exactly what we needed: strong leadership."
Look, I'm a filthy fucking chauvinist, but Jesus Christ, man, there's a limit to it. Like, I mean, like, she's. Yeah. I'm not going to attack her because she's a woman, simply for being a woman. But like, I got to agree with you, man. I really do think if this was coming, well, no. Cuomo and them, they and what's his face, Governor of California, he's getting it pretty bad.
Newsom.
So, but California's that's for another show for another day. We could go another hour just on the craziness of California.
Yeah, so, they're all getting shit, but it's insane when the shit's directed to a woman, how quickly it gets personal. It's immediately like, oh, she must be on a rag or something. Oh, she's crazy. She's imbalanced.
I just couldn't believe that woman from Michigan. What are you, 5, dude? Yeah. You can't say her name?
No, that's intention. That's a power move. Is what
I know it is, but it's also a bitch move. It's something that like children do. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand it.
Why are we expecting like this? Like, guys, I gave up a while ago. Like, okay, we have a crazy drunk monkey for president. Cool. Like, I gave up on expectations a while ago from that guy. Nothing shocks me anymore. It's just like I've never been in a hurricane, but I kind of imagine like this is what it is. I'm just kind of just waiting for it to be over.
Well, all I hope is that Biden picks a really good and competent running mate.
Pick fucking Barry. Just pick Barack Obama, please.
Beats Trump and then goes, I'm just going to hand it over to my more than competent vice president. I'll see you guys later. Have a nice one, America. Like, thanks, Uncle Joe. Try not to sniff anybody's hair on the way out.
Just
okay,
pick Barry,
bye.
because if you pick Barry, you'll win. Just pick Barry. I don't care if it's a loophole on the third term. I don't give a shit.
Did he get Trump out of office? People lined up to get their hair sniffed.
Right?
Yeah, he might get his hair sniffed. Hey, you know.
It'll replace the handshake.
The hair sniff?
Yeah.
We're all
get Trump out of office while we sniffing each other's hair.
That's the creepiest shit ever. Even like when it's not meant to be, like in the Crimea River video, like I guess that Justin Timberlake thought that if he put like a scene where he's like stalking the Britney lookalike, if he sniffs her hair, it was going to be like, oh, I still love her, and I'm just like, no, you come off like a creepy rapist, bro. Stop. Right. Like it's.
That's Hollywood shortcut for stalker.
Yeah.
I was watching the episode of 30 Rock that I was watching today.
Oh yeah.
Liz she takes some Ambien equivalent and has this sits down next to a young black girl who she believes to be Oprah. And it's actually Oprah in it. You see her like hallucination, and like Oprah leans down to like grab a magazine out of the pocket, and she immediately sniffs her hair.
Yeah. I remember the name of the medicine. It was called Comonapril.
Comonapril. I can't believe you remember that. That's exactly what it is.
Just here you go, folks. That's the type of useless information you get by listening to this podcast. Yeah. Right. Aaron can pull fucking quotes from Simpsons episodes that are 30 years old out of thin air, and Chris remembers everything that he watched on 30 Rock and
everything else.
Is it too much to say? Is it too much? I'm more of Scrubs than him. I've even stumped him.
Well, too, my sister-in-law, she left, but the last 3 weeks, I swear we've gone through the office like 9 times.
Well, I was going to say Parks and Rec, because you always bring that up.
Well, that too. But it's been all office all the time around here for like 3 weeks. Need a break. So speaking of breaks, we're taking a break till next week. Follow us on Twitter at UnregimentedPod, Unregimented on Instagram, and unregimented@ChristopherMedia.net is the email. Go to ChristopherMedia.net where you can hit the PayPal button to help us out. And you can also, there's an Amazon banner. Won't cost you any extra money to buy your stuff on Amazon. We get a couple extra ducats. And then where do you listen to us? It's more like, where can't you listen to us? It's ChristopherMedia.net, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker.com, the iHeartRadio app, Stitcher, wherever there's a podcast. We are there. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
See ya.
Later, guys.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new: our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.